Hello everyone and welcome back to the Magical Memories with Maddie podcast. For this episode, we're going to be discussing Genie Plus. This is a very critical, crucial, important factor into Disney vacations nowadays. And so I'm going to go into a little bit of detail of what Genie Plus is, and then I will tell you guys an entire list of the rides that are included with Genie Plus at Disney World, and then I will do Disneyland, because both of those offer Disney Genie Plus service. So the first thing you need to know is what it is. So if you have been to Disney World in the last 5 to 7 years, I would say, you probably already know what it is. But if you haven't been to Disney World in a really long time, when you last went to Disney World, they had this thing called Fast Pass, and you would go up to a ride and you'd scan your ticket on it and you'd get a comeback time to ride this ride. You get to skip the line. So now they don't do that anymore. They switched it to FastPass Plus, where you could book it on your phone, and now it's Genie Plus, a service that you have to pay for, and the price can vary, so I don't actually have an idea of what the prices are. I do know at Disneyland you can buy it with your tickets, whereas Disney World, they make you buy it each day. And the other thing about Genie Plus is at both Disneyland and Disney World, they have the individual Lightning Lane attractions that are not included with Genie Plus, and you have to pay a separate extra fee for. Now, Genie Plus used to be like $15 a person, but now it's higher. I don't know what it is, and I have not used it in a while. I did use it at Disneyland when we went, but I also got that as a travel agent kind of trip, and my ticket was free for me. It was like a social, it was a thing for the travel agency. So, yeah, but my mom's ticket was not cheap, and she got it with Genie Plus. So, that is the thing to think about, when it comes to your vacation. But I will say, at the end of this video, if I think it's worth it to have Genie Plus. So anyway, let's get started. So the first thing you need to know is how to get Genie Plus. So when you're on your phone on the My Disney Experience app, I do not currently have a My Disney Experience app on my iPad, and I'm filming on my phone, so I can't show you guys my screen. I did show you guys an entire video on the My Disney Experience app, and it's in that video if you would like to go back and watch it. I tell you guys how to do it. So basically, on your home page or on the page with the 3 lines at the bottom, you will see Disney Genie, and you're gonna click on that, and somewhere on that page you can buy Genie Plus for the day. So also Disney Genie Plus can vary price-wise on how you're purchasing it, which I think is also why they no longer allow you to purchase it with your tickets, because you might be an annual pass holder, you might be just a regular park goer, whatever. The parks can have different prices. Like Animal Kingdom might be a lower price than Magic Kingdom because it has less ride options. Also, if you do the multiple park options, if you're park hopping, now that you can park hop whenever you want, the park hopper option might be a better deal for your buck if you are park hopping and you're capable of park hopping, because you can get more ride time out of it, because you can book for the other parks that you're going to while you are hopping around through your day, and you can have your day almost planned out. It can really depend. But yeah, that one's going to be the higher priced option for sure. And after a certain point of the day, I'm sure that they stop letting you purchase that, because they're going to make you pay full price even if you only book one ride. So at some point in the day, you're going to have to just purchase for one park. So yeah, it's pretty simple to purchase, but like I said, if you need help finding out how to do anything on the Disney World app, I have an entire podcast episode dedicated to telling you exactly how to use the My Disney Experience app. It's the same on the Disneyland app, in case you're wondering. That app is literally the same. There's no difference. Don't worry. But yeah, so the Disney Genie Plus service is a paid experience to help you skip the line, kind of like Universal does with Express Pass. It's not as expensive as Express Pass, but it's a service nevertheless that you can use. That may benefit you, it may not. It depends on your family, it depends on the time of year you go. There's also the DAS pass if you're eligible for that. That is an option, and it works almost like Fast Pass. And if you're eligible, it's free to you. So there's just a lot of things that people can do to help them skip the line, but this is going to be the number one thing that people are going to want to use to help them skip the line. All right, let's get into it. So I have my iPad here, so I can tell you guys everything. So I will say, of all the parks, the one that's going to have the most Genie Plus lightning lanes is going to be Magic Kingdom. Now, when you're planning your trip, it is entirely based off of how many of these you want to ride and how best you can go about doing that. That may determine how many days you need, and I can almost bet you if you're trying to ride more than like 4 of these in one day, you're going to need a second day of Magic Kingdom for Genie Plus. It might be best to do a park hopper, so you could just use some in your park hopper and go to another park and make it more worth your buck that day for, you know, do a multiple park day, maybe park hop on over to Animal Kingdom if you're like there's not that much to do with Genie Plus and Animal Kingdom. I actually would recommend doing that for an Animal Kingdom day, splitting it with another park that doesn't have that many rides to ride, or maybe just finishing off Magic Kingdom. Now, that depends on how good your family is at keeping up and doing things, because there's a whole day's worth of stuff you can do at Animal Kingdom, you guys. I can promise you on that. But if you're just focusing on trying to get the most out of your Genie Plus, a half day at Animal and a half day at Magic might be a good idea. All right, let's get started. Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger Spin. The other thing, some of these you don't need a Genie Plus for these, some of these. And I will tell you which ones they are after I finish. Disney's Festival of Fantasy Parade, Dumbo the Flying Elephant, Enchanted Tales with Belle, Haunted Mansion, It's a Small World, Jungle Cruise, Mad Tea Party, Meet Ariel at her grotto, Meet Cinderella and a Visiting Princess at Princess Fairytale Hall. Meet Mickey at Town Square Theater, Meet Princess Tiana and a Visiting Princess at Princess Fairytale Hall, Mickey's PhilharMagic, Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor, Peter Pan's Flight, Pirates of the Caribbean, Space Mountain, The Barnstormer, Magic Carpets of Aladdin, Mini Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, Tomorrowland Speedway, Under the Sea, Journey of the Little Mermaid. Now, I could tell you right now, about 60% of this you do not need a Genie Plus lightning lane for. For example, Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger Spin. If this ride has more than a 15-minute wait, you've picked the busiest time in the world to go to Disney World, and I'm sorry for you. Also, it's a shooter game. Unless you have kids, why are you writing this? No offense. Dumbo the Flying Elephant never has more than, I can almost think probably a 10-minute wait. If it does, it's busy. Enchanted Tales with Belle, that one might get high, but it's because it's like a show thing. And so sometimes it's not that you're waiting so long to do it so much as you're waiting for the next show because you didn't make it. And so that one I don't really see how a fast pass, like skipping the lines, can benefit you much here. You're probably never going to wait more than 20 minutes because that's how long the show would be. And they include a lot of people in those shows. I don't think Mad Tea Party gets a super high wait. Now, the princesses like Cinderella, Tiana, Ariel, those I think, and Mickey Mouse, the meet character ones, those I think if you like really want to meet characters and you feel like it's okay to use your fast pass for that, I can almost guarantee you any time in the day you can get this. Like, do the rides you care the most about and then do these later in your day, because you may not need them. Like, check the wait time. I've never really seen most of these get higher than a 40-minute wait, and sometimes that's really not that bad. So I would just do the most important rides to you first and then save these for later, and then maybe you got more out of your money for your thing, because I can bet you they're still going to be available like way later in the day. I doubt very seriously these are going to sell out. Now, I don't know. I've never tried to book them, but that's because I just wait in line. Mickey's Filler Magic, if you're waiting more than 5 minutes, it's because there's a show going on. Not because... And Genie Plus isn't going to help you with that, because if they let you in, they're just going to let you into a show that's already started. So, like, I just don't see the point of it for that one. Monsters, Inc. Laugh Floor, same thing. Barnstormer, Magic Cupboards of Aladdin, Winnie the Pooh, Speedway, they just don't get that high weight. Same with The Little Mermaid, doesn't get a high weight. Moving on. There are Lightning Lane entrances for individual purchase, and at Magic Kingdom, they are Seven Dwarfs Mine Train and Tron Light Cycle Run. Now, Tron Light Cycle Run is on virtual queue, so if you can't get the virtual queue, your next best option is to buy the individual Lightning Lane. Last year in December, it was $22 per person to purchase. That I do know the price of. All right, Epcot. So, these are the Lightning Lane entrances offered through Disney Genie Plus service at Epcot. Disney and Pixar Short Film Festival. This never has more than a 5-minute wait. Frozen Ever After. Yes, if you're gonna ride Frozen Ever After, that's just enough reason right there to even buy Genie Plus for Epcot. Journey into Imagination with Figment. Probably never is higher than a 15-minute wait, and that goes for Living with the Land as well. Mission Space Green or Orange, both of them offer Lightning Lanes. I don't think these need a Lightning Lane, but that's just me. This is another park you could split like half day with if you wanted to. Like if you spent a whole day in Animal Kingdom, Epcot's a great park you could do a half day, like half Magic, half Epcot, to make it more worth your Genie Plus, because there's really not that many here. Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, I would say yes, you're gonna want a Lightning Lane for that one. That's that one and Frozen for sure. And Soarin', which Soarin' can either be Soarin' Around the World or Soarin' Over California. Currently, I believe it is still Soarin' Over California for the 100th anniversary, but I can bet it would be back to Soarin' Around the World soon. Spaceship Earth. Test Track. That one you might need one for too. The Seas with Nemo and Friends, and Turtle Talk with Crush. So, Test Track, Soarin', Ratatouille, and Frozen are the ones that you're really going to want a Fast Pass for. But let me tell you a little secret. If you're not riding Frozen, then you don't need Genie Plus, because you can do single rider for Test Track. You can either do Soarin' Around the World, Soarin' at the end of the day, or your first ride of the day, or you can do Remy, Ratatouille for your first ride of the day, and then Soarin' for your last ride of the day. Either or, you know, you can jump in line right up to the last minute of the day, and I would imagine the waits are pretty lower. Also, though, I do feel like Ratatouille doesn't get that high of a wait, actually. I don't know what the wait time is currently, but I would imagine it's probably not really one that gets higher than 40 minutes. And that goes for Soarin' as well. Soarin' may not be that high either. It really depends on your day, it really depends on your timing. So you could get away with not having Genie Plus at Epcot. You just have to maybe wait a little bit longer than you would. But also, like I said, this might be a great park. If you're doing all 4 of those, yeah, I get it. But this might be a great park to do a half day with, just for riding rides. And the individual Lightning Lane ride for this park is Cosmic Rewind, which is also on a virtual queue. So if you don't get the virtual queue, you could try, of course, again at 1, like Tron, you can try again at 1 p.m. Or you can try to buy the individual Lightning Lane. I do not know the price for that, because we got the virtual queue. Hollywood Studios. Alien Swirling Saucers. Beauty and the Beast live on stage. Disney Junior Play and Dance. For the first time in forever, a Frozen sing-along celebration. Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular. Meet Olaf at Celebrity Spotlight. Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. Muppet Vision 3D. Rock and Roller Coaster. Slinky Dog Dash. Star Tours. Tower of Terror, and Toy Story Mania. Another one that doesn't really have that many that you really need one for. These are the ones you really need one for. Mickey and Minnie Runaway Railway, Rock and Roller Coaster, Slinky, and Tower of Terror, and Toy Story Mania. those are the ones you really need Genie Plus for. Now this is worth it for a day because there's 5 great options here, but there are other options. Now I will say, if you need a Genie Plus lane for a show like Beauty and the Beast or for the first time in forever, I don't think you know what the rides are. Maybe we need to talk about attractions. But the Frozen Sing-Along Celebration and Beauty and the Beast Live on Stage, those are shows. And if you make it there 20 to 30 minutes before the show starts, you're gonna get a good seat, or a decent seat. Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, if it gets really high, that might be another one that you might need one for, but you could also always immediately run to Rise of Resistance, ride that first, and then ride it, and it's probably like a 5-minute wait. Star Wars Rise of Resistance is the individual Lightning Lane ride for this park, and I will say, that is a ride. Unless you're either willing to wait, you ride it first thing, or you ride it first thing, you're going to want an individual Lightning Lane for that ride. So you might also do better at waiting for all these other rides and buying the individual Lightning Lane for Rise of Resistance. I don't recommend it. I recommend riding it first thing. Or my recommendation, I will talk more about it at a different time because this video is supposed to be Genie Plus, is after hour events, because they have a lot of great after hour events. They have after hours at just regular park days. They have nighttime, like they had the Jollywood Nights last year for Hollywood Studios, and this is a great way to get to ride a lot of these rides, lower weights, and in a shorter span of time than a whole park day. And I could talk more about Jollywood Nights at a later time. Okay, finally, the last park that we have for Disney World is Animal Kingdom. Now, like I said, Animal Kingdom doesn't have that many on here that you really need Genie Plus for, especially because the individual Lightning Lane for this park is the most popular ride, Flight of Passage. You're gonna find that as a common trend in these parks, that the most popular ride is not included with Genie Plus and you have to pay extra for it. That's just a way for Disney to get more money. I always recommend, if there's only 1 or 1 to 2 individual Lightning Lanes, pick one you really want to do. There seems to only be 1 lane on most of these parks. Or go ride it first thing on your park day. So Flight of Passage better be your first ride of the day. And if you really want to ride the other Pandora ride, ride it right after. Grab some quick breakfast, go ride it. And then you can use Genie Plus for everything else, because it's not worth Genie Plus. It's not the other Pandora ride. It's called, what's it called? Navi River Journey. It's not even worth riding, in my opinion. For what, ride it once and you're good. Let's carry on. Festival of the Lion King. Dinosaur, which will soon be going under transformation to Indiana Jones, and I can't wait. Expedition Everest, Feathered Friends, and Flight. That's a show. Same with Festival of the Lion King. Finding Nemo, The Big Blue, and Beyond, also a show. It's Tough to Be a Bug, also kind of a show thing, but it's an attraction. Kali River Rapids, Kilimanjaro Safaris, Meet Favorite Disney Pals at Adventures Outpost, Navi River Journey, and the Animation Experience. Wait, they have an animation experience at Animal Kingdom? I'm mad at myself. I could have done that. I'm doing that on my next trip. These are the ones that are worth Genie Plus. Dinosaur, soon to be Indiana Jones. It's more so when it's Indiana Jones that it's going to be worth it, because that is a very popular ride for a reason. I like Indiana Jones better than Dinosaur. If you've never heard of the Indiana Jones ride, they have it in Disneyland, and it's literally the same track as Dinosaur, so this transformation is going to be a lot easier for that purpose. Expedition Everest. I will say though, if you can't get Genie Plus for your day, or maybe the weights aren't high, you can single rider Everest. Kilimanjaro Safari might be one for sure. You could also do it first thing, but if you don't do Flight of Passage first thing, then you're going to be waiting for that. So I do recommend booking a Lightning Lane for Kilimanjaro. In fact, I would recommend doing it over first and then do Everest, because you're going to be able to firstly, and secondly, you want to be on the safari earlier in the morning when the animals are more likely to be awake. And that's it. That's literally 2 rides, I think I just said. the rest of the, like, a lot of these are shows. Feathered Friends in Flight, Lion King, Finding Nemo, those are shows. If you get there 20-30 minutes earlier than the show, you gonna get a seat. Another thing about these shows, they're not that long, and so if you don't make it, you can just go ahead and get in line for the next show. And that means you're gonna be wait 20 minutes, but I mean, then you get a really good seat because you're the first person in line. So good for you. This happened to me, like, everybody was going in to see the show and they were like still seating inside, but they weren't like letting people in from outside. And I wish I had said, like, my family's inside, maybe they would have let me in, I don't know. But like, yeah, like after a certain point, they shut that door. They do not let any more people in. So yeah, that's Animal Kingdom. Now we're gonna move on to Disneyland. All right. So, for starters, Disneyland does not have nearly as many attractions included in Genie Plus, so a lot of people may not think it's worth it to purchase Genie Plus, but I'm actually going to tell you it is. Now, before I continue with Disneyland, I do want to talk about Disney World, whether or not I think it's worth it. I already kind of discussed which rides I think you will need Genie Plus for, but also, like I said, I have a member of my family that can qualify for DAS Pass, and that is very beneficial, and it's free, and it's saving us like however much per day. We, in fact, did not use Genie Plus at all on our last vacation to Disney World. We only went for a day and a half, and we did Jollywood Nights, so we didn't need Genie Plus for that night at all because we like walked on a lot of those rides or had very low waits. And then for the next day, we park hopped and we used DAS Pass. And DAS Pass was also so great because unlike Genie Plus, you could book any ride, all the rides all the time. A lot of times Genie Plus, you kind of need to really be strategic and know how to prioritize the most important rides because there will be a point in the day where they're no longer available to book with Genie Plus. And so that's the thing about Genie Plus is that it's very popular, it's very used, and I personally think it's worth it for some of the parks, but not all of the parks. And so that's why I said some of these might be better to do a park hop day because you can do the multiple park option and just, you know, go do the 2 things in Epcot, the 2 things in Animal, like whatever, on a day when you have like a second day at a park, maybe just to get more use out of your Genie Plus or to make it more worth your money because it's not that much more for the multiple park option from what I've seen of pricing lately than it is for like 1 day at Magic Kingdom. Like it's like probably a $5 max more. And then you get like 2 extra rides out of it, maybe, we shall see. But also, I just don't think Genie Plus is that helpful in the long run at Disney World because you will be running all over the park from what I remember from, this is my history with Genie Plus at Disney World. We went 2021, we had 1 park per day, we didn't do park hoppers, and we had Genie Plus. Now, we were able, this was before, and you were able to buy it with your tickets, so we had it already purchased for every single day of our trip, so we did not need the struggle of like buying it every single day. But, you know, you get up at 7 a.m. and you book your Genie Plus lanes. We couldn't even get, like, Genie Plus lightning lanes until, like, 3 p.m. at the earliest on this trip. Like, that is super annoying, firstly. Secondly, the way that it works is you either can book after you ride or every 2 hours, depending on which comes first. And it's more likely that after 2 hours is the one that comes first on a Disney World trip. Now, that doesn't mean you can kind of stack these, but why would you want to have to stack these, especially in these parks like Hollywood Studios that are a lot bigger than you think they are, and you're like running from like Rock and Roller Coaster to Toy Story Land to Star Tours to like, you know, like the park is like a lot bigger and you're running all over the place. Like we did this so much. Like we started in Star Wars, and then we like ran and did single rider for Rock and Roller Coaster. Like Rock and Roller Coaster is way over here. Star Wars is like way over here. Like you're all over the place in these parks, and it's really a struggle because these parks are huge. Disney World is huge, and so you're like everywhere, and you're getting way more steps in your day, and it's just not as worth it to me to struggle through your day to just skip the line on like 3 to 4 rides, because that's the other thing is because of the like, now I think you might be able to get earlier than 3 p.m. But like, because you can't get them super early, like, or close in time to you, like when you want to ride it, you have to find things to do in the meantime. You're probably not even near where you need to be because it's hard to do that because you're like, well, I want to save that for Genie Plus, so I'm not going to do that. But then you're like over here and maybe you're over there, maybe your ride's over there. Like, it's just, it never fluctuates in a way of you just starting in one part of the park and making your way around. And that's the thing about Disneyland that I like a little bit better, is you can do Genie Plus in Disneyland where you kind of fluctuate in a way that you get around, but also Disneyland is smaller, and so you're not as mad about running from one end of the park to the other because it took you the same amount of time as it would take you to walk from one land to another in Disney World. Like, literally going from Adventureland to Frontierland takes you like 5 minutes of walking, and that's at fast speed. Whereas like Disney World, you can get from Adventureland to Tomorrowland in 5 minutes. I mean, Disneyland. Because Adventureland is not that big. Like, here's Adventureland, here's Tomorrowland. And like, that is, yeah, the same at Disney World. But like, Disneyland really is smaller. Like, when you're walking down Main Street at Disneyland Park, you can see Astro Orbiter. You can see whatever from Adventureland. Like, you can literally, like, it's that close together. Like, the craziest part is Disneyland has more rides. That's the crazy part to me. That really did hurt. But you can like literally like just do so much more. We had 2 days at Disneyland and we booked like every single ride almost that we could book with Genie Plus for Disneyland Park and Disney California Adventure Park in 2 days. Okay, I'll do it at the end of the video. I'll like tally it on the screen as I say it because we didn't book all of them, so I'll do that. But yeah. So anyway, let's get into Disneyland's rides that are included with Genie Plus. Like I said, there's not as many, but a lot of the rides at Disneyland just don't need Genie Plus. So, and I think that they understand that a little bit better. Autopia, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, Buzz Lightyear, Astro Blasters. Haunted Mansion, Indiana Jones Adventure, It's a Small World, Matterhorn Bobsleds, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, Pirates of the Caribbean, Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin, Space Mountain, and Star Tours. Now that's Disneyland Park. And the individual lightning lane for this park is Star Wars Rise of Resistance. Now, I don't know about Tiana's Bayou Adventure yet, but I would imagine for both Disney World and Disneyland when it opens, it will be an individual lightning lane because it is going to be a very popular brand new ride, and that's just genuinely how they do things. Now, I don't know if that means they'll keep Rise of Resistance as, for Disneyland, as the individual lightning lane, or if they'll keep it at 2. I'd imagine they'd keep it at 2 because that is a very popular ride, but I will say that ride's not as popular at Disneyland as it is at Disney World. I just had to say that. So anyway, for my tally purposes, these are rides we booked with Genie Plus in 2 days. This is just Disneyland. Big Thunder Mountain, Haunted Mansion, Indiana Jones, Matterhorn Bobsleds. I didn't think Pirates was on here for some reason. I guess so. Pirates of the Caribbean, Space Mountain, and Star Tours. Those are rides that we did in Disneyland within our 2 days. Now, I don't have the correct order in my brain of when we did what. A lot of those we probably did on the second day, but some we did on the first. But we also started in California Adventure Park. So for Disney California Adventure Park, the rides included with Genie Plus are Goofy's Sky School, Grizzly River Run, Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout, Incredicoaster, The Little Mermaid Ariel's Undersea Adventure, Monsters Inc. Mike and Sully to the Rescue, Soarin' Over California, Toy Story Midway Mania, and Web Slingers. And the individual purchase lightning lane is Radiator Springs Racers. Now, of course, like I said, for Rise of Resistance, if you're starting in California Adventure, go ride Radiator Springs Racers first. But also, here's a fun thing here. If you only have 1 day and you decided to start at Disneyland first, you can single rider Radiator Springs Racers. They have a single rider line. I don't know how fast that line goes, because I've never used it because I've only been here once. But that is a great tip to know. And I can also tell you that for Space Mountain. Another reason why I think this Genie Plus is not as popular too. All right, rides that we rode with Genie Plus. Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout, Incredicoaster, Soarin', Web Slingers. That's it. I feel like it was more. I feel like we did so much more. But also, like I said, the rides that we didn't do with Genie Plus just didn't need it. Grizzly River Run, that one would have been one that we had booked. We did do Incredicoaster twice though, by the way, just for the notes. Grizzly River Run was like a water ride though. And we didn't want to ride a water ride because when we went it was actually cold. That's gonna be my next vlog series for my Maddie World at Your Feet page. I'm probably gonna forget to do it. But yeah, I really enjoyed Disneyland because I felt like I could do Genie Plus faster and better. Now that you know the tally, this is the total of rides that we rode with Disney Genie Plus, and I have to say that is probably more than you could do in 7 days at Disney. Or 6. Let's say 6, just for fun. In fact, I would imagine that is more than we did in 6 days at Disney when we went in 2021 with Genie Plus. So, I wish I could remember that trip well enough to remember which rides we rode with Genie Plus so I could tally it up for you guys. But yeah, I could probably figure it out. I just don't feel like it. Yeah, Genie Plus is a very great, helpful, beneficial service, potentially. More so at Disneyland than Disney World, in my opinion. I could have booked more of those. We just didn't care. We also were really focused. We'd never been to Disneyland before when we went to Talking with My Hands. Sorry. We had never been to Disneyland before when we went to, my mom had been, but she hadn't been in a very long time. So when we went to Disneyland, we were more concerned with riding all the things we wanted to ride. And like I said, not every ride in the parks included with Genie Plus. Disneyland and California Adventure Park have more rides than all 4 theme parks of Walt Disney World combined. Like you guys heard the list for those rides included with Genie Plus for Disney World. That's most of the rides in Disney World. There's very few more that aren't included with Genie Plus. There are significantly more rides at Disneyland and California Adventure that are not included with Genie Plus. More so at Disneyland Park. Well, attractions, I guess I should say. Jungle Cruise. Right there is one. That's included at Disney World, but at Disneyland, you have to wait for it. So it's just an example of the differences between the two. But yeah, that's Disney Genie Plus for you guys. I hope this was a helpful guide. Of course, if you have any questions, comment. I will gladly answer your question. I know more than you think I would know. But also, don't just comment your question. Come book your next vacation with me and ask me all the questions you could ever need to know about Disney World. Maybe some that I haven't answered yet on this podcast. Maybe some that I know that I haven't said on the podcast because I want you to book your trip with me so I can give you exclusive intel knowledge you would have never known had I not talked about it. Anyway, thanks for listening or watching this podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed, and tell me what to talk about next week. No one's telling me anything, so I don't know why I say that, but maybe one day somebody will. Yeah, I hope this was a beneficial guide for Genie Plus for you guys, and I'll see you guys next week for the next episode. You can run, but you can't hide.